this lecture, we are discussing what are Google Cloud Platform and Google BigQuery. Let's start with Google Cloud in general. Google Cloud provides physical assets and virtual resources. Physical assets like computers or hard disk drives, and virtual resources like virtual machines, which are contained in Google's data centers around the world. Each data center location is in a region. We have regions in Asia, Australia, Europe, North America, and South America. We get with Google Cloud a distribution of resources, and this results to redundancy in case of failure and reduced latency because the resources are closer to you as the client. So with the Google Cloud Platform and its distribution of resources, we get less failure problems and less latency. With Google Cloud, we are using cloud computing, which means that software and hardware products become services which provide access to the underlying resources. If you want to develop an application or website on Google Cloud, you mix and match the services in combinations that provide the infrastructure you need. And then you can add code to enable the scenarios that you want. So you can use one or more services like BigQuery. Any Google Cloud resources that you allocate or use must belong to a project. The project is like the manager or the connection point. And you put in your settings, your permissions, and other metadata to describe the app in the Google Cloud project. You can use the Google Cloud resources for free with limits, like with BigQuery. You can create queries and access public data sets and use BigQuery for free, but you will hit some query limits at some point, at which point you should create new projects to reset the limits. Next, let's discuss the Google Cloud Platform specifically, also commonly called the Google Cloud Console. We're going to use the Google Cloud Platform in our course to interact with Google Cloud services and resources. So it's how we can actually access the services from cloud computing. Google Cloud Platform is a web-based graphical user interface, so you can just access it via a website where you can manage your Google Cloud projects and resources. You can also interact with resources and services, like you can perform queries to BigQuery directly on the Google Cloud Platform. In this course, we're going to show you how you can use Python to also interact with BigQuery, but the other option is just to put in your queries directly onto the Google Cloud Platform. Here on the platform, you can create a new project or use existing projects. You can work with teams, and you can use the resources that you create in the project. So with Google Cloud Platform or Google Cloud Console, you can manage your projects and resources and interact with BigQuery and other resources. So what is Google BigQuery? Because we're going to be using it quite heavily in our course. Google BigQuery is a fully managed enterprise data warehouse where you can manage and analyze your data. It contains built-in features for machine learning, geospatial analysis, business intelligence, and more. Google BigQuery has a serverless architecture, which means we don't need a server. We can use SQL queries, and there is zero infrastructure management. And Google BigQuery is a scalable distributed analysis engine. Scalable meaning it can handle lots of queries and lots of data, and it's a distributed engine for performing data analysis. You can query terabytes in seconds and petabytes in minutes, which is quite a lot of data at a fast speed. With BigQuery, we separate the compute engine that analyzes the data from the storage choices. This allows you to have that speed because we have that separation. We can store and analyze our data within BigQuery and use BigQuery to assess the data wherever it may live, so you don't have to store it on BigQuery. You can perform federated queries, which means you're reading data from external sources, while streaming supports continuous data updates. There's also BigQuery ML for machine learning and the BI engine, business intelligence engine, which are extra tools that you can use with BigQuery. You can store your table data. BigQuery storage is optimized for analytical queries. BigQuery will present your data in tables with rows and columns, and it provides full support for database transaction semantics. The storage is automatically replicated across multiple locations to provide high availability. So if one is down in one location or region, you can access it elsewhere. BigQuery also provides analytics for descriptive and prescriptive analysis uses. So you can use BigQuery for data analysis like business intelligence, ad hoc analysis, geospatial analytics, and machine learning. You can also query data that's stored in BigQuery. You can run queries on data where it lives as well. So wherever your data is stored, you can still use BigQuery. For example, just query the data directly from BigQuery or use external tables or federated queries if your data is somewhere else, like on cloud storage or Google Sheets, which are on Google Drive. As well, BigQuery enables administration where you can do centralized management of your data and your resources. It is secured using identity and access management, the access model used throughout Google Cloud. So that is Google BigQuery. Join me coming up next. We're going to learn how we can build our first project for free on the Google Cloud platform. Hello everyone and welcome back. In this lecture, I will show you how to build a new project on the Google Cloud platform. Because if you want to access Google Cloud resources like BigQuery, you need to have a project as your connection point. So to create a new project, go to console.cloud.google.com. So this is the URL to access the Google Cloud platform, also commonly called the Google Cloud Console. Here you can log in with your Google account or Gmail account, and you can create a free Google platform account. So you can just access Google Cloud platform for free. You can still interact with BigQuery and perform queries for free. You will have a project query limit, so if you perform huge queries or a lot of queries, you might get a message that you've reached your limit, in which case you just create a new project for free. So to create a new project, you click on this project name at the top. You might already have a default project at the top, and you can just select the button New Project. Here you will see how many projects you have remaining in your quota. You can request an increase or delete projects to get back to your quota. So I'm using the free plan on this account, so it shows me that I have 10 projects remaining in the quota out of 20. Then you can give your project a name such as Mammoth Interactive 2. Then you will get a project ID. Make sure that your project name and your project ID are different, at least in capitalization. Otherwise, you can have issues with performing your queries in Python. For example, if I call this Mammoth Interactive 2 all lowercase, well, now my project name and my project ID are the exact same, which can lead to issues. So just make sure the capitalization at least is different. Sometimes you may also give your project a name and you might get an error if the project name is too short. Also, you might see that the project ID is randomly generated for you. So this is totally normal. It will just randomly generate the project ID for you. If you want to have a more specific project ID, then I recommend putting in a number at the end. That way, you can specify a more memorable project ID. Otherwise, it will be randomly generated if I don't put in a number, okay? And if it's a really common word that's already been used before, if the project ID has already been used before. Then you can select an organization, location, this is optional, and hit create. That's going to create a new project for you. And by default, you'll immediately be taken to the project. You can also click select project to go to the project, and you can select it from your list of projects at any time. Here we have the Google Cloud platform. You can see your project that you're currently selected on the left. In the editor for the project, you can execute SQL queries. In our course, we're going to execute our queries with Python, but if you want, you can just put your queries directly into the editor, and you can avoid Python altogether. So if you don't want to use Python in the course, then just skip all the Python code and just put the SQL queries only in here and press run. You'll have to type a query to get started. You can also compose a new query. You can see your personal history, your project history, and your saved queries for this project. Here, via the Google Cloud platform, you can also access the project information on this left-hand side, the APIs, the status of the platform and monitoring, error reporting, and more resources, as well as the trace and documentation. In this course, we're going to focus on BigQuery, which is for data warehousing or analytics. So I'm going to show you more about BigQuery later on, and the BigQuery public datasets that we can access for free. So that is how you can create a Google Cloud platform and start using Google Cloud resources for free. I'm excited to get us started with the rest of the course, so I'll join you in the next section. If you liked this video, then go to training.mammoethinteractive.com. We have tons more content on blockchain, web development, machine learning, and much more. We also have a membership for just $19 a month where you can get access to our 372 course bundle and counting.